We'll have to look. What's up, everybody? We are live, and we'll be getting started here in a few minutes. If you're catching the replay, we should have this time stamped for once we go, get into the meat and the potatoes of everything. But welcome to our weekly live stream, and we'll get rolling here in a few minutes. Just want to make sure we are up on the channels. How we looking, Danny?
1 second here.
Welcome, welcome. I see you guys are joining in. Let us know where you guys are joining in from, how you guys are doing.
So I don't see it on IG.
You don't? Okay. I can mess with that. Afternoon, Richard. What's up, Nate?
Oh, something with Stream Elements is still running.
It's just a bot. It'll show like data and stuff, but should be fine. Both of our signals are looking really good right now. What's up, AJ from Austin, Texas? I love Austin, Texas. They got some great barbecue.
Oh, something with Stream. There we go. All right, got that pulled up.
Welcome, Adam. We got Vancouver in the house, Swansea. What's up, Christian? Guys, we're going to go live in, well, we are live, but we're going to actually start everything in a few minutes. So if you have people that have been asking about what you're doing, go ahead and tag them and tell them to join. Even if they're a little bit late, they'll be able to catch on. And we're going to be going through some great stuff this week. So go ahead and tag your people, get people to join in this thing. And we're going to get this group and get these lives bumping. What's up, Max? What's up, Stuart?
Another way of doing that too is sharing this stream as well. We should do some type of incentive for people who share it in like the future, because it'll show us who shared it.
Oh yeah, for sure. What's up, Max?
What we got for time? About noon now.
Yeah, about a minute too.
Give this another minute and then we'll get going. So we ditched the stream elements that we were using last week. Until we get that all optimized, we're gonna push that to the side. That way we won't have any interruptions with the stream moving forward. So there shouldn't be any issues today. We apologize again for that last week. It was just a little bit of trial and error on our part and getting used to some software and things like that.
Better knock on wood. We were going smooth for like 30 minutes, and then you started to jump into the good stuff, and it started glitching.
Yeah, it was just eating up too many resources.
I know.
Yeah, so there is a way that you can track, like if you decide to be an affiliate, it's obviously completely optional, but you will have a way of, if you refer somebody, you'll have your own unique link, which will track anybody that you sign up. And you have we have our own little back office for that, and you'll have like a little dashboard, and I'll show you all the stats and, all that good stuff. So.
Yeah, and Sam, I'll have my information always available, especially for the affiliates. I'm running that group in there. So shoot me a DM anytime you have a question, and we'll get you taken care of. What's up, Woody? What's up, Todd?
Appreciate everybody showing up today. Much love. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's just get it rolling now. You want to talk about the Black Friday real quick, and then I can just hop right into it.
Yeah, for sure. So guys, a lot of exciting things coming down the pipeline. We've had, two of these. This is our third live session. And as we continue to layer on, more valuable content and more valuable, things of what we're doing here, we have had an opportunity to shift our plans around a little bit. So a lot of you guys that have been with us for a while, you're in a certain, plan. And now going forward, we're basically going to have two options for people. It's going to be a 14-day trial into our monthly plan, which is $99 a month. And then we've got a mega discount on our yearly. It's about like 680 bucks off if you do the yearly at $499. But this week, we're going to offer you guys an incentive to get the legacy pricing for the yearly at 360 bucks for the year. So you're talking about less than $1 a day to be in our group. To me, the signals are the cherry on top, but these weekly education calls, the private Discord that we're going to be launching into, which Danny can talk about more later. There's going to be a lot of great things coming. I think everybody can agree $1 a day to change your financial future inside of the markets is a small price to pay, and we're going to deliver the goods. So if you guys want to take us up on it, $499 in and of itself is a great deal. We're making it even more sweet this week at $360 for the year. That's all I'm going to say about that. If you guys are catching the replay and you happen to see this on a Monday, if you see this and you message us, we will honor the pricing for you through the remainder of November. So if you guys are seeing this replay, we will honor this through the remainder of the month. And on that, I'll let you take it away, Danny.
Cool. Yeah. And Sam, you can send a message directly on this page, or you can just email support.
EasyFXSignals.
Yep. Yep. So, and also Instagram too. Let me share my screen really quickly here. Instagram's a good way too of staying up to date with everything too, because we do post a lot of announcements there. Let me see, what screen do I want here? There we go. Let me share this one here. And again, there are some EasyFXSignals Instagrams out there that are not ours. We've had people let us know about it. This is our only page, and you'll be able to easily tell because we have well over 10,000 followers. A lot of these other fake ones on just about every social media, they'll be low followers. All of our stuff has a heavy following. So, and all of our stuff says EasyFXSignals. That's it. No numbers. If you ever have any questions of people reaching out pretending to be us, you can obviously reach out to us directly, and get that verified. A couple other things too. So the giveaway, we mentioned this previously. We do a big giveaway every single month, and that's just our way of showing our appreciation and gratitude to the members in our community. So we give away well over $1,000 worth of different things. Like last month, it was $1,000 cash. We just gave, I believe it was Chris H who won the $1,000 plus a 1-year free membership this month, and it ends in a week. So this month is a free iPhone 12, the new iPhone that just dropped. We just picked them up. Here's mine. They're really nice phones, especially for trading. So you'll be able to get that and a 1-year free membership as well. And then there's going to be 2 other places for second and third. So second will be a 6-month free membership. And Joel, correct me if I'm wrong. Third place will be a 3-month or 1 month. Which one?
1 month.
1 month. And this is exclusive to members. So it's not like we used to do it. We used to do giveaways and they'd be open to the public and they'd be on our Instagram. And obviously, as you can see, we have a ton of people on our Instagram. So we shifted that so it's just for members. We obviously have a decent amount of members, right around 400, but you still have really good chance. And we do something every single month. So if you become a member, or if you are a member right now, inside our private group at the very top, you'll see a pin post and it'll show you how to enter. All the different ways to enter are free and they're pretty simple to get your entry. And then we do a random, everybody that enters, depending on this month is different where, it's, I think, a testimonial, and then we're selecting the top 3. And then other ways we do it is just throwing all the names in a random generator and it's automatically selected. So that's that. So make sure, take advantage. free money, free phone, free memberships. You know, you can't beat that. So Joe talked about the Black Friday. Really quickly with the educational stuff, we're working on it. We're still testing a couple things. We have to, for us to, before we can start really integrating this stuff, it's a lot of testing, it's a lot of programming, and it's a lot of integrating and just kind of making it all work together. So with what we're doing now and what we're adding, we're eventually going to shift our Telegram channel into a Discord so that we can add the other things and have it all housed under one roof. But right now with our Telegram, we had to have a programmer make all these different programs and bots and automation to manage the memberships. So if somebody signs up, they're automatically added and it automatically manages their subscription. That's what we're trying to have built right now with Discord. And then with these live streams, we'll be doing one of these a week on Mondays, like this one, every single Monday for the public. And then moving forward, once we get that Discord sorted, where we're going to have our course, we're going to have our VIP chat where you can chat directly with other members and the traders and everybody involved in EasyFX. You know, everything's going to be there. And then we're going to have additional live streams, which will be streamed directly into that Discord. So it's only going to be for members. And then we're going to do stuff like for, you know, if there's, you know, let's say, you know, NFP, or if there's some type of event where we're expecting some volatility in the market or whatever, you know, we can do some live trading as well in that Discord. Hop on a call like this and you can see, you know, the traders as we're just discussing it like we normally do every day. And you can just kind of sit there and watch what we do and take advantage of the trades that we're executing in real time. So that'll be pretty cool too. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be taking place. So we're really excited about that. And then of course too, the copier, that's something that we will keep you guys updated on as soon as we you know, get to a place where we're comfortable with it. We think it's going to be a good move moving forward, and we have it completely tested out and it works flawlessly. You know, that's going to be something that we'll be adding on. But again, like, we have a little bit more digging to do, as that is mainly the one that we were introduced to by you guys is for Telegram, and we're making that shift into Discord. So we don't know how that's going to work, and that's some other stuff that we're going to have to figure out, or if we have to have our developers end up making our own code and copier as well. So, but we're working on it. We'll get it sorted. We used to have one for our old team back in the day, like years ago, and it was through email. So either way, we'll get it sorted. And then let's see. So I had a couple people message me today, and I'm going to leave this up to you guys. I had a couple people message me and request that I do certain topics, and I thought they were all good topics, but I figured I would leave that up for you guys to decide. Excuse me. So somebody messaged me. Obviously, we'll hit some charts. We'll go over some pairs. I had one person message me, and they asked if I could kind of share, not really my story, but how I was able to get to where I am, because this is somebody that was trading for 5 years and they're just not anywhere close to where they want to be. And, you know, I've been trading less than them. And they were asking me how I was able to, one, get to where I am so quickly, where I was able to quit my job, and two, not just that, but how I was able to scale from low 5-figure accounts to 6-figure accounts to 7-figure, and then coming into the beginning of next year, 8-figure, and how I was able to do that in different ways that you can do that. So that way you don't have to trade your own money, one, and like it alleviates the risk on your part, and it helps you grow, and it gets into bigger account sizes, more money involved. That way, you know, because my biggest thing when I first started trading, like, even if I got, like, I built a smaller account, let's say like $1,000 account to like a 10K account, like that wouldn't be enough. Like, even if I made like $2 grand on that account to really pay the bills and then keep my account secure, because you don't want to be at a 10K account where, you know, you make 2,000 or 2,500 and you have to withdraw that, right? Like, you want to grow your account to a place where the balance is comfortable, where you can make money and withdraw without putting your capital at risk. Meaning, like, you know, you have 10K, you make 2,000, you have to withdraw that money, maybe even a little bit more to pay your bills, right? And then you're back to that starting balance. And, you know, if you have a bad week or bad month, then your account goes down, and now you're into four-figure, you know, 4 digits, whatever. So there's ways that you can scale really quickly, and one being not even using your own money. And there's companies, there's private ways you can do it. There's a lot of different ways. So that's one. And I think that will be beneficial for a lot of people, because I literally was a painter and I had like literally no money. I was messaging people to borrow money. I was trying to work, and then whatever I could take from my paycheck, I was trying to deposit and trying to build a big account so I could. But like that just led me to trying to like take shots and hit home runs and end up blowing accounts, because I was trying to take like a $500,000 account, try to blow it up to 20K. And then when I got to that magic number, that's when I was going to start taking it serious and start using proper risk management. It just didn't work. So, you know, but either way, like we can get into that. So we can do that, which is kind of like a 2-part thing. Another one, somebody was talking about mindset, like how do you deal with certain situations or a bad streak or, you know, a losing week or a losing month or consistent, like losing trades, you know, the different elements in terms of the psychological part of trading. That's another one that we can get into, or we can just hit up the charts and just run through some charts. We can review some of the trades that I talked about today, the EU trade you're seeing here on the screen that I just personally sent out. So I'll leave that up to you guys. So if you want to hear the first part, and whatever we do, I'll make sure there's charts at the end. So we can either just do straight charts. If you want straight charts and none of the other stuff, just drop a 3. If you want to hear the mindset stuff with some chart stuff at the end, do 2. And if you want to hear what I was talking about in the beginning about how I got to where I am so quick and how I was able to scale really quickly, drop a 1. And even with that, I'll do some chart work at the end. So I'll leave that up to you guys.
Let me, while they're dropping in their numbers, I want to take this opportunity to talk about a couple things. So Andy was asking me about my story, and then someone was saying something else. Oh, the trades were quote unquote not satisfactory last week. So real quick bit about my story. I had no idea what trading was 2 Augusts ago. I met Danny, and Danny became my mentor. Okay. And I had money to invest. You know, I had a successful business. I still run a couple successful businesses outside of this. And I said, yo, bro, I've got money to throw in. What do you suggest I start with? He said, I suggest you start with demo. And I was like, what does that even mean? He was like, don't trade your money, because you have no idea what the emotional roller coaster is going to be. You have no idea what trading is. You have no idea what your trading plan is. You have no idea what your strategy is. He said, until you have a fair sample size of trades and you master the mental side of it, that's when you can start to strive for 6- and 7-figure accounts. And you're going to see more of this. We're actually creating like an onboarding, almost like a welcome series, and you'll hear more about my story. But I started with demo, and I traded demo for almost a year before I turned it live. And it was not because I didn't have the money. It was because I wanted to master my strategy. I wanted to listen to people that had done what I wanted to do, like Danny. And until I got to that point and felt comfortable that I could ride the emotional roller coasters of losing and winning, both, I didn't do it. And I challenge people all the time. You know, you guys are coming into this service, and whether you're on a live account or not, I suggest, you know, even if you're paying for it and you don't have that emotional mastery yet, trade demo, like 100% trade demo. And you're going to see, even on a demo account, taking our signals, it's a numbers game. So if you don't have that emotional attachment to the capital and you start to master it, that's when you start seeing the long-term vision of what we have and what we want for you guys, which is transforming your life in the markets. It has nothing to do with the markets, it has everything to do with your mindset.
Spot on, man, spot on. So let's see. I think there's a little bit of lag on my Facebook on my phone, but we see. Let's see. I'm actually surprised that there's not more 1s, because I think that would have been what I picked. If I was in your shoes, that's what I would have picked. And it looks like I can't scroll, but it looks like, Joe, maybe you can scroll on your end. It looks like the majority were 2s, which is interesting.
I see a lot of 2s. I see a couple 3s and a couple 1s, but mainly 2s.
All right, so we can do the mindset stuff, and that's probably Joe just said it. It's probably the most important thing, and it's what separates people from, it separates traders. Like really, that's what it is. Like when people come into trading, they think that winning traders have just better strategies, or they think winning traders are just, they understand things better, they understand the markets better. A lot of them think that they just need to find a strategy, they search for like the holy grail of strategies, and that's why you see people go down these rabbit holes and they try to find this different combination, this holy grail of indicators that's going to help them be consistently profitable. Like I've seen people, and I know people who are in positions that they shouldn't be, and they can mark up charts really well, right? They call signals for, they have a group of 30,000 people, and they call signals for a ton of people. And I know personally that he's not a profitable trader, but he can mark things up like no other. He can read market structure like no other. Like he's like in that regards, he's very well rounded in understanding what the market's going to do next. But the reason why he can't perform and the reason why he can't get consistent results is he's too emotional, and his mindset is not where he needs to be. Because think about this, like the only physical thing that you need to do when it comes to trading is sit your ass in a chair and be able to do this and click a mouse. That's it. Everything else is how you gather information, how you process that information, and then the outcome of that, like the actions that come from that. Like how we all look at this Euro USD chart and how we perceive this information, how we process it, determines our different actions. So now the ones are all popping in now. That's funny, right? So like strategy is just such a small piece to the puzzle. Like when I have people, like I used to do a lot of private stuff with people, and like Joe said, I mean, I used to work with him, and besides the demo, like I wish I could have people just jump into, I'm sure some of you are familiar with Mark Douglas, right? Like he's the pioneer of mastering the trader's mindset, right? I wish if I had my way, I would have everybody that I've worked with, or even all of you watching this, just jump into that mindset stuff. And we can provide a ton of resources. Like you need to be able to think like a trader and process information correctly to get the desired action, which will give you the desired outcome, right? You need to be able to manage your emotions. And so many people just jump into accounts too early, myself included, and you form a lot of bad habits, right? And that also stems from the same thing of, jumping into a live too early. You're not going to be able to see the numbers work in your benefit. You're living and dying by every single trade. Like I used to wake up to go to work as a painter at like 4:30 in the morning, depending if I had a ride or not, or if I had to take the train. And when I opened on my phone, unlocked it, and pulled up MT4, depending if I saw blue or red, that would determine my mood for the day. Like same thing like with my girlfriend. Like when I started doing this, like she would know if I had a good trading day or a bad trading day, because I would either come into the other room very happy or very pissed off. And that right there are just, that's not the way to do it. You can't think like that. Like you can't be living and dying by every trade. And that's one thing demo is really big with, because it's going to show you and train your mind. Because as us as humans, we're not trained to think of probability. You have to train yourself to really see the numbers play out, to see high risk to reward trades play out in your favor. Like a lot of you have seen the stuff that we've posted in other groups that we were a part of previously. And we have documentation of 25 trade samples after 25 trade samples over and over again, where we maybe won, and granted, these were like with bare minimum confirmations. Bare minimum confirmations, like 1 or 2 confirmations out of everything that we look for. strictly for example's sake, just to show you how powerful playing the numbers are and thinking and training your mind to think in probabilities, winning maybe somewhere, I remember one sample was winning 3 trades out of 25, but increasing our account by 51%. Think of that, winning 3 trades out of 25. But let's say those 3 trades came randomly on the last half. What do you think that trader, what do you think you would be going through emotionally, psychologically, maybe physically, if like the first 11 trades are all losses and you're down and you're risking 2%, you're down, what did I say? The first 10 trades, 11 trades, you're down 20, 22%. What do you think you would be doing? How do you think you would be handling that? A lot of people immediately look inward and they think that they're doing something wrong. And that was, and I used to do that. I used to do that all the time. I used to think it was me. I think I would be screwing up, and I would immediately start jumping to conclusions. And because that's such a small sample size, right? Especially like, and I'll touch on that after, but I want to see what, yeah. So somebody said they'd be bummed, they'd be scared. Like, yeah, you would be like, your mind would start playing with you big time. If you weren't emotionally there and equipped, your mind would, you would get taken out. They call this in poker going on tilt. You would go on tilt. You would start probably dumping off the rest of your money if that was the case. If that was the case.
And I think what's important too, Danny, to talk, there's wisdom in that too, because you're leading us on the trading side, right? But the only way you can do that is through the experience of being where everyone is, like, or started, right? And so for me, I always come back to you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't allow someone to go through that, but then offer them a way out of that through, it's literally just experience is experience. Like, you had to lose a shit ton of money, I'm sure. You had to go through those sleepless nights. You had to figure out what the heck was going on. You probably changed up your strategy a ton and it didn't get you anywhere. And if I'm putting words in your mouth, it sounds like once you started to be consistent and then master the emotional side of it and know that what you've been doing that's working is going to work and you have to push through those things, that's at the end of the day what's going to allow you to be successful long term.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, when I first started trading, like, if somebody said you need to get your mindset like in check and develop that skill, like, that's like, if somebody said, before you start learning any strategies, before you start learning anything about the markets, you need to master the most important skill of trading, and that's your mindset, I would probably look at them and be like, what are you even talking about? I'd be like, I need to make some money, and you know, that's not part of the plan. Like, the two big things that were a shift for me, and obviously it fell into that category of that all I needed to do was get a solid strategy, and all I did was jump from shiny object, shiny object, and it would be like whoever I thought was getting the biggest results. And like, if people were posting like these crazy trades, and I would just, oh, what are they doing? Especially like if somebody's in like a rut or they're losing and somebody's showing that they're crushing it, like, people can, they'll completely abandon their strategy without even looking at long-term numbers. But like, the biggest things for me were really getting a trading plan, like, and we'll go into that, like, and that's part of our educational part that we're going to do. Getting a trade plan, documenting my trades, right? Because you need to be able to measure what you're doing. If you don't log anything, you have nothing to measure, and you don't know where you're going wrong, and you don't know where you're going right. So you have no way of determining your strengths and weaknesses. That was a big thing where I was journaling my trades, like, pretty detailed in terms of like emotions, like what I was thinking at different stages of the trade. Like, when I was marking things up, to when I got to the point where, like, all right, this is a solid enough trade where I think I'm going to set this pending, or I think I'm going to execute this trade, to how I was feeling while that trade was active, and then how I was feeling after the trade. That was huge for me, because I was able to pinpoint when my emotions were getting the best of me and when I was the most calm and collective. So like, trade journaling and snapshotting, like, if I, like, let's say, take this Euro USD, for example, and I mark this up, and I'll break this down for you guys afterwards, why I have this, how I have it. But I would mark this up like I did, and I've already done this for this trade. And I would take a snapshot, and I'd go up in the trading view, and I'd go in the upper right-hand corner up here, and I'd click this camera, right? And I would copy this, right? And so in my trade journal, I would have the date, the time, Euro USD, you know, short at this price, what the risk to reward is on this trade, the outcome, the confirmations on this trade, like why I like this trade. And then I would include a before snapshot. And then after this trade played out, whether it ran away from me and didn't get me triggered, whether it triggered me and I won it or lost it, I would take another snapshot and I put that in. And then I take all that information and I would go through it, and I'd comb through it on the weekends, and I would just really try to identify things. I would identify patterns with my trading. I identify my strengths, my weaknesses. So like all of that with regards to, you know, having a trade plan, trade journaling, like all that type of stuff, like that was huge because I had no idea that was part of trading when I first started, until like I had somebody who like was a trader full time for 7 years, like one of my close friends who kind of pulled me into this world, like show me what's up. And I was like, dude, what is all this? Like I had no idea. And that all falls under the category of treating this like a business. Like, you know, you can have two people, right? I love using analogies. You can have two people, right, open up a business, the same business on the same street, right? It's happening right now up the street from you. There's a Publix and a Publix just opened in the Harris Teeter, right? How they present themselves, like physically, like the landscaping, like let's say one's landscaping's on point, everything's brand new and nice, and the other one's falling apart and they don't keep up with it, and like the building's chipping. The other person, right, they have everybody wearing uniforms, they're organized, they have, like, you know what I mean? Like there's just night and day between the uniforms. Like they make them wear uniforms and tuck in their shirts and greet all the customers as they're coming in, and, you know, really big on customer service. And the other people, they can wear whatever they want to wear. They don't have to tuck in their shirt, you know, whatever. Like that's all falls on treating this like a business. And if you don't treat trading like a business, you're treating it like a hobby. You're ultimately going to get results that are a reflection of how you're treating it. So like that was, give me 1 second. I just got to plug my mouse in. So like that was a big shift for me. And then of course the mindset stuff. Like when I started getting into the mindset stuff, I had a big time trader basically kind of give me a huge wake up call, because I was at a point where, kind of like what I was describing earlier, where I was marking things up really well. Like I had a really good understanding of market structure. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, where like you're marking things up and you see everything really clearly, and like a lot of your trades are playing out, but like you're either not in those trades or you're just like fumbling around. You're not getting the results that you know you should be. Does anybody ever relate to that? Yeah, Trello is good. Trello is actually what we use Trello when we were building this company. Trello is good. You can use Trello. I use Google Docs, because if you pull up Google Docs, there's spreadsheets in there. You know, and you can, it's kind of like Excel, and it's free, and it links to your phone or your computer.
I just got an idea too. I'm sorry to cut you off, but if it would be helpful, would you guys like to see just a basic downloadable, you can copy it into your Google Sheets template of how we track our trade journal? Would it be helpful? If so, drop a 1 in the chat. I'll work on that this week, and I'll drop it in the VIP channel, where you can just literally click it, copy it right into your Google Drive, and you can use it as a trade journal. Would that be helpful?
I forget what I was talking about.
My bad.
It's all good. Yeah, so that'll be beneficial for people. I forget what I was even saying. Oh yeah, so like, you know, I was at that point too, where I with the strategy I was using at the time, where I was reading things really well, and I saw a ton of trades play out, but I wasn't in them. And right then and there, I mean, it was pointed out to me, and I kind of knew it, that like I completely was disregarding the most important thing when it comes to trading, and that's the mindset. And I know like this is a topic that most people like hate to talk about. Most people don't do the work when it comes to your trading mindset, but take this as you want. I'm going to personally tell you that it's the most important thing that you can ever focus on, and everything else is secondary. Like, just like the example I can, you guys would be amazed at people who you think are profitable who are not, because of their mindset. Like people who have huge, massive potential, but they're not there because of their mindset. Like it's insane. Like that's what makes or breaks people, especially like that example I was talking about earlier, where, you know, like if you using those 25 trade samples, like the blocks, we call them 25 trade blocks, where you're taking 25 trades and then you're going back and you're analyzing them, and then you go to the next 25 trade block, right? With bringing the information that you gathered and decompiled from the first 25. Formations in where there was 2 examples, like I mentioned the other one, it was like 38 or 51% growth on the account. And I can't remember the order, but I know the majority of the winners came at the end. And then there was another one where there was 25 trades, 6 winners, and like 38% growth. Right? So like that when you do stuff like that, that's what's going to help train your mind to think in probability and not start jumping to conclusions and getting all worked up when you see some losers, especially if they're losers in a row. It's huge. That's how you're going to train your mind to think in probability. And that's going to be one of the biggest things that separates you from a lot of people. Just there's so many elements, and like that's one of the biggest ones. Like I encourage people to do that. And you need to be able to track those results. Most people, like they're going to see, like, I mean, I think some of you guys said it earlier. Let's say you were in the midst of, you were doing those 25 trade sample, right? And let's say it was 5 losses, 1 winner, and then 4 more losses, right? And then you're like, something's not right here. Like you might think you're getting unlucky. You might think you're doing something wrong. Most people immediately go inward and think that they're doing something wrong, because most people can't identify the difference of a bad trade and a losing trade. Who knows the difference between a bad trade and a losing trade? Who can tell me the difference between a bad trade and a losing trade? How do you tell the difference? You might be able to see the answer before I do, Joe, because I'm lagging a little bit on my end. But drop that in the chat. I'll keep going, and then as soon as I see the answers, I'll circle back to it. But being able to identify that is huge, and it's really simple how to determine that. You did everything right in the losing trade. We didn't have to change the thing. But how do you know you did everything right? Okay, so Kenton said it. All confirmations are met. So like if you have, bad trade, you're not following your plan. So like if you have a confirmation list for your strategy and you're entering your trade and each one checks the box and you lose that trade, that's all that is a losing trade. Now, if you get into a trade because, you know, maybe the fear of missing out, or like a trade's pulling back and you don't think it's going to pull all the way back to your entry, and you hop in the trade, next thing you know, you get run over, like the fear of leaving money on the table, all these things that cause you to make a rash decision without just following your trade plan, right? And following the confirmations, the reasons for you to execute a trade and put your capital at risk, that's a bad trade. That's a bad trade. But like I highly encourage people, even if it's with our trades, document them and watch the numbers play out. Like it's funny to us sometimes too, because like, and most of you guys know, like our track record, like I've been doing this for a long time. I'm not in the business of losing. I don't have 8 figures coming to me next year because I'm a losing trader. But when people see a losing week, or worst case, a losing month, which we've never had with this company, or let's just say 5 losing trades in a row, all bets are off. They do what I described earlier. And that's when, oh, that signal service over there, they just got 500 pips or whatever it is, and they jump ship. They're not looking at the numbers.
And on that point,
they're not looking at it.
Yeah, on that point, Danny, I just sent you a link. So if you want to go off screen real quick for your chart, just pull it up. So something that we're doing to have full transparency inside of our group is we're going to take that work on of logging every single trade that we send out in the group, so that you guys can see the roll up of results month over month over month. Now, what I did was we started this in May. I took May through whatever October and shows you guys the percentage of what we saw net. Starting in November, we're tracking it trade by trade, and going forward each month, we're going to be doing trade by trade. So you guys are going to have full transparency and access to this at all times inside of the group. And anybody that is interested, right, that may be asking questions or hears about us or whatever it is, they'll have access to see this at all times too. We're not hiding it from anybody. It's going to be on our website. And so if you scroll down, let me take this caption off real quick. If you scroll down, Danny, you'll see starting in November, that's every single trade through Euro USD that's happened this month. And we'll be updating that within 24 hours of each trading day. So hopefully that'll be super helpful and powerful for you guys to see the roll up of results and why numbers mean everything.
Yeah, and that's huge too, because you guys will be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I mean, think about it realistically, right? Like, look at these numbers here. Since and this isn't like our trading career. This is just since we started this company. And we didn't start winning when we started this company. We started this company because we're winning. So like, when you look at these results, these consistent results here, and you have a bad week, or because I can tell you this right now, I don't care how good of a trader you are, or you think you are, or how good of a trader you think you know, they're not immune to losses. They're not immune to losing weeks, and they're not immune to losing months. It's as simple as that, right? Look at these numbers consistently profitable. Some might be lower than others, right? Some might not be, you know, what we planned or anticipated or expected, but it's consistently profitable, right? And when you have a month like 56 and then the next month is 8, like you're still averaging 30% between those 2 months, right? So like, I don't know what the average is between all these, but I can guarantee you it's pretty dang good. So that's where mindset, we see the mindset part eat people alive when, you know, I'm not immune to losses either, right? But like, I check in with my investors, and I just checked in with them this week, and they saw that I lost some trades this week. Do you think they're pulling me off accounts? I have investors giving me more money because they're looking at the long-term sample size, not a week's of data. And it's as simple as that. And that's the mindset you have to come into this with. It's vital. It's literally vital to your success, thinking long term. Because those guys who have that type of money that invest in myself as a trader and other investments that they do, like one of them is a big real estate mogul. Do you think they're worried about daily or weekly fluctuation? They're looking at quarterly or yearly, long-term consistent growth. And that's what I had to show them to even be able to touch money or access money that I have available to me right now. So it's extremely important. And that's one of the big reasons why we wanted to do this, so you can see how the numbers play out consistently. And that looking at things and living and dying by every single trade is what's going to get you killed in trading. It's what's going to cost you money in the long run for trading. It's just so important. And that's where risk management is the biggest thing. Like, just think about this for a second, right? And if you look at these numbers and you think of the accounts that I'm on, and I'll be 100% transparent with you. In the last couple of weeks, we lost over 6 figures on the accounts. Do you think I'm stressing about that? Do you think I'm changing my strategy? Do you think I'm automatically thinking that I'm doing something wrong? And we lost 6 figures, but up until that point, especially with one investor in particular, we're up well over 7 figures. And granted, it's a 7-figure account, but we're up 7 figures. So losing that type of money is not a big deal. It's part of trading. Overall, we're up. Look at these numbers. These numbers are congruent with those accounts.
So I just want to address, I don't know if it's the elephant in the room or what, but I just find like a lot of people, and Charlie, thank you for asking the question, because it's an important question and it's one that we get all the time. But everyone also lives and dies by like transparency to an FX book account. And I'm going to maybe touch on a little bit why it's not always the best gauge and why it's a little bit more complicated for us. Number one, for us, Danny and our traders are trading multiple different accounts that are like married under an umbrella account. So for Danny's, example, he's operating investor account. So from a privacy standpoint, that's really kind of hard to get authorization to share those because it's not his to share. Number two, you have people that have had multiple managers on those accounts, and so the numbers don't necessarily skew to what is actual reality, if that makes sense. Number three, and this is something I don't know if people that have been trading for a long time had this experience, but maybe 6 months ago or less, kind of in the window that we've been trading, FX Book changed the way that they were doing stuff. And I honestly lost all of my data for like 3 months personally. And then they had like an MT4 EA that you could throw into your MT4. I had no idea how to do it. And I was busy doing other stuff and I just didn't do it. And so that's just me making my personal excuse. But I don't know if anybody else had that experience. FX Book changed their stuff. And so like there was 2-3 months where no data was happening inside of the accounts. So I'll let Danny kind of dive into that more. But like we're legitimately just going to drop our trades inside of this tracker. If we can figure out a way to have FX Book just linked to our signals, because I know Danny takes stuff that might necessarily we can't send in the group, like super low time frame, whatever.
That's a big one too that I was going to touch on. So like, well, first off, like what he said, like what we're doing now is going to be the most accurate way because you're going to be able to verify it. Like you're going to be like, we've had people do it. We've had people scroll back and look at every single trade that we sent out and they matched it up with our results. Like we've had people do that. So like you're going to be able to do that too with every single trade that we track. Like it's all going to be there. But like we don't go back and delete the trades that we sent to the Telegram. Like that was one of our biggest rules and one of the things that we told every single trader that we took on board. Once a message is sent, you cannot edit it unless it's a typo. Unless it's a typo, you can't edit it. When you can't go back and delete it. So speaking on what Joe said, and just for some perspective, so our big investors, like my big investor, who's a multi 7-figure account, it's not a 7-figure one lump sum in one account. It's a family, and this family owned, whatever. It doesn't matter. So like they have multiple accounts, and we use a tool called Social Trader, where every single account, it's over 85 accounts. It's over 85 accounts just with one investor. And it's all housed under one account, which is, we call it a master account. So it would be literally impossible to do that. So, and then the second thing, which he talked about is, like, for example, this other investor that I have, he had somebody trade an account previously before me, and they got absolutely destroyed. I think like they were over leveraging trades. I think they had like a loss of like 10% on one trade. There was a 15% loss on another gold trade. There was a lot of stuff. And then, through the grapevine, he got referred to me and we ended up working something out. So like when I was able to log on that account when I first started and I saw the entire history of this previous trader. So like what I've done on the account compared to what that previous trader did, right? It's not a reflection of our personal results, if that makes sense. So, and then second too, like I can't, like, they're not like, there's money in certain things shown in names. And like, I would need, like, I don't even know if those people would feel comfortable with me even showing that. Like I'd have to ask them, and I probably have to block out certain things. And my personal stuff, like I haven't, like, and this is kind of what I was talking about earlier when I said, you know, there's a certain topic that I've had people suggest that we talk about, and how I was able to scale. I scaled so quickly because I wasn't trading my money. Like if I was still trading my money and I never was able to scale, or I never sought out funding, I probably wouldn't have been able to quit my job when I did. I don't even know where I'd be right now, honestly. Because scaling a $500 or $1,000 account, which is basically all I could afford when I started trading, to like a point where I could quit my job. And mind you, I had a baby on the way. My daughter was like, I mean, we moved into our apartment when my daughter was born 2 months after that, if I'm not mistaken. So like we needed money, and I just didn't have that type of money, like to just throw in an account. You know what I mean? So like the only way that I saw fit in what was recommended to me by my mentors and how they were able to scale was to get funding. It's the same thing with real estate. If anybody here is involved with real estate, like one of the investors that I trade for is a big time real estate player. And I usually have mentorship calls with him because I'm trying to get my feet wet in real estate. Because my big thing now is I'm trying to work on passive income, because most of my income now is active. Which trading, it's active income. I only make money if I'm trading. Even EasyFXSignals, that's active. It's residual subscriptions, but it's still active. If we don't send trades, or if we don't do certain things, money doesn't come. So I've been trying to get into passive income. But this last conversation that I had with him, almost all of the things that he has now, all his investments, none of it was with his money. Like he was showing me all the different ways that people can get into real estate without using their own money. And he was using it as an example. It's the same thing that I do with trading. Most people in my position, they don't trade with their own money. One, because it doesn't even compare. Like even my 7-figure investors, they don't even want me trading 6-figure accounts, because it just doesn't make sense to split focus when our 2% on those accounts is like the account balance on those other ones, if that makes sense. So that would be like me trading my own money. Like even if I had like a, you know, back in the day, like a 5K, 10K account, when I could trade like 200K, like it just doesn't make sense.
Problems.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, but there's so many ways like that you can get that type of funding. Like this is somebody who had a bad record, like a really bad past. Like, I mean, there's just so many ways that you can get funding if you can just show data like this. If you show documented data, like if I show investors, any investors this documented these months right here, like that's how I get investors. Not because of this, not because of individual trades. Like look at, there's the total profit loss and gain, right? That's what they look at, not what I did today or last week, right? And you can do this as well. And there's companies that do it. There's so many people in the investing world that do it, right? You show any investor that type of gain in that short period of time. Like this guy was telling me, who's the real estate guy, the type of investments that he makes, the type of money that's involved in the yearly return. And let's just say this would take decades to see that type of return. So like when you show investors or anybody that like has a good head between their shoulders, like those type of numbers like this, it's a no-brainer. And there's companies that do this, right? You don't need a private investor. And again, like I didn't have any friends that were investors. Like I grew up in Boston and was hanging around with the wrong crowd. Like, so I promise you, it's really easy to do it once, you know, you just treat this like a business. You get recognized for treating it like a business, because your results are going to end up speaking for themselves. So, I mean, there's so many companies like FTMO. That's one I could personally vouch for. I do not use them now, but I know a lot of people that I work with, and people even in our Signals group, they use FTMO. The big difference between private and companies, though, so like companies, you're going to get a better percentage for the trader. I think like FTMO, for example, is 70% to the trader, 30% to the investor. But yeah, the rules.
On that note, I was going to ask, you had aspirations and goals to leave your job as a painter and become a full-time trainer. I'd love to know in the group. I mean, we've got 40 people on here. Do you like who in here wants to get to that level where they can get funded and trade full time, whether it's to supplement their income or completely leave what they're doing to make money and just trade full time? If that's you, just let us know.
So as you guys are dropping that, I'll tell you really quickly, because this is one of the other questions that person asked me to talk about. The big difference between private investors and the reason why I personally choose private investors versus companies. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, FTMO, I mean, I could see some people saying that they use them now. FTMO is great, and it's a good way to get your feet wet, because not only that, like, you can use a company like that, even if like their percentages or their rules and regulations kind of suck, like you're getting 70%. So like I have a friend who I trained how to, I trained them how to trade, and they just quit their job, just moved into their own apartment after a breakup, and I think his first paycheck was like 10K. But what he's doing is his vision isn't long-term with that company. He's using a company like FTMO to build his own bankroll. And he's doing that until he builds like a 100K account, and then he's going to cut ties with that. So like with companies like FTMO, and there's tons of different companies like that, if you need references, or like if you want to confirm if like one's good, like we can find out, or we can find out in our network. But you're going to get really good percentages to the trader. But the rules are going to suck. Like the regulations suck, right? There's a lot of restrictions. Now, private investors, the percentage is smaller for the trader. Typically 25, 75, or 30, 70 ballpark. Unless like you start at that range and then like you prove yourself, and then like you have some leverage where you can go back to the investor and say, all right, you see what I can do. You know, I want to up this by like 10% or whatever. But the big thing is with private investors, you literally have free, like in most cases, like there'll be very small or little to no restrictions. They'll usually just be like a cutoff, like, hey, you know, in the agreement, like if you reach this amount, we're just going to call it. But, you know, it's not like you can't hold trades overnight. Like I know some companies, like you can't do that. You can't trade through news. Like I can trade through news. I can hold trades, you know, overnight for weeks or months if I want. I can trade as many trades as I want at a time or whatever. I just basically have free reign to do my thing. So like that's the big difference between those two there. So, but it's a really good way to get your feet wet and to start playing with some decent capital.
And I was just going to say too, like, so seems like everyone that responded has that as a goal. We're 100% behind you guys. Like that's why we created this community, and we believe it for you. We know it can happen. We've seen it happen. We've had other communities before this, and so it almost I mean, my personal goal, and it's our company goal, to have this Discord launch before the end of the year. We're going to make it happen no matter what, because I want to see you guys responding this time next year that you guys are all full-time traders. It can 100% happen for you. And I can't wait to see that transformation, to be honest with you. And to see what these conversations look like when you have full access to drop charts and have Danny and the other traders start to train your eye for what we do, because with this strategy, it's a no-brainer. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and like these are the type of conversations too that we're going to be able to do like in the private Discord when we start doing private sessions like this too. And then there are going to be situations too where like it's going to actually be like conversations where we could even like open it up to some of you guys on the call and like ask questions or whatever. Because like that's ideally, like we didn't want to just have a signals group. We wanted to build a community. Like we want to have, like we want to help people do what we were able to do basically. So like getting that 7-figure mentorship of like things like this, stuff that have nothing to do with the strategy. Because the strategy, I mean, at the end of the day, the strategy is a very small piece of the puzzle. And like that stuff can be learned, and it's very easy to learn that stuff. Like the biggest reason why people fail is just they're not treating things like a business, and they just don't have their mindset there yet. They don't have their emotions in check. There's just certain things, and like that's what we're gonna show you. Like the stuff that I would show, like all the stuff. Like I can't even. Most of you know, but like in the old group where I used to educate, we have thousands of people, and we've set so many people. And you guys, a lot of you probably people know in the chat, like you guys know this for a fact. we've set a lot of people free, and it's a lot of it is like just stuff that we learned from people who are doing this proper, and that we were able to take that information and share it. And that's what we're doing here as well. So like all this stuff, like I didn't have any clue how to do any of the stuff that we're talking about now. I didn't think any of it really mattered. I was focused on a strategy. I thought that was it. Like learn how the charts work, get in and out of trades, make some money, call it a day. And it's such a small piece to it. And like that's ultimately what we're going to do in this community is build beast traders, end of the day. And like Joe said, the signals are going to be a cherry on the top. And like that's why even when we send these trades, like we send them with charts, so you can get an idea of like what we're looking for and whatever. So with that being said, since we've been at like an hour now, and I said I'll do some charts at the end, how about we do this? We'll end it there, and I'll hit up Euro USD right now, and I'll give you the breakdown of this trade that we have this sent out to the group earlier today, and I'll break this down and why, or you know, kind of just go through the confirmations, why we're looking for what we're looking for, and what we're anticipating, and all that good stuff. So does that sound good? If everybody, that sounds good, let us know. Drop a one in the chat. Smash that like button, smash that heart button, and then we'll mark up this chart and smash this week and end this month. Keep that winning streak alive. Let's close this. Let's close this. I'm gonna just do fresh. You guys have that chart. That chart's available in the free group, or not the free group, in the groups, the signals group now. And this is kind of a perfect example because this is kind of like what I started to talk about last week before we got disconnected. Because it's a perfect example of one of the big things that we look for in terms of market manipulation and waiting for the banks to really show their hand, because they really can't hide what they do. Like if you think in terms of like what the banks are doing and like the transactions that are taking place and the scale that they're on, like they make my accounts look like pocket change. Like they're doing their big orders, right? So like there's certain, that's why they have the nickname market makers. They move the market essentially. So they can't hide their hand. You just need to know what to look for. And the majority of things that are being taught out there are to get you into that trap. Most of the things that are taught are just setting up for the trap. They're all generic and, you know, find a support, buy it, trend line, buy it, break retest. Like all that crap does not work. I promise you, it doesn't. I've tried it. I've tried every variation of like all these strategies you see out there. Like, don't get me wrong. There's people who use retail methods, like, support, resistance, and whatever. There are some people who do well with it, but the people that I personally know that do well, they have very big accounts, and they have like probably the best trading mindsets that I've seen personally. Like one of them being my mentor, and he does Elliott waves, and he's an absolute beast. But he like holds trades for like months, and he trades like, the minimum lot size the guy throws on trades is like 50, but like he makes good money. Like most people are not going to make money using retail methods, and I'm going to show you why. Right. So like when people look at this level here, like what do you see here? Let me get rid of this alert here. And I know some of you guys have followed my trainings and seen my live sessions and my markups and all that stuff. So like, I'm not directly asking you this question. I kind of want to get a feel for what other people would do or think. So like, if we look at this massive level here, right? Like, what would you categorize this as? I'll change this color. Oops, red. There we go. Like, what would you? I'll go to like a higher time frame. Like, what do you look at when you see this red box here? Like, what's the first thing that jumps into your mind? So, like, I'm assuming most people are gonna say supply and demand or support resistance. right? Like most people are going to look at this like resistance. And what are you taught when you find something like this? This is what we refer to as the clean side and dirty side. The clean side is what you're seeing in that red zone because it's very easy to see. It's a straight line where we can clearly see price trade into and react. And that's where people look for opportunities, right? So the simple way of putting it is where most people are looking for opportunities are where the banks, or we're just going to categorize it as smart money, right? Well-funded traders. Those are the areas that manipulation occurs. And who can tell me why? Why do you think that is? Where most people are taught, and you don't have to take my word for it, right? Like if you ever are curious of what like the masses are doing, like the majority of people who are using trend lines and indicators and support and resistance and double tops and head and shoulders patterns and all these crazy patterns, right? You can go to TradingView, and I love showing this, right? You can go to TradingView, you can just type in the pair, right? So we're on Euro USD, right? You go to Euro USD, you type it, and then you can scroll down. And if you scroll down, you're going to see ideas from people, typically people with like good like followings, like big followers. They usually get like the top spot. But like, look at here, right? Like, and I swear to my daughter's life, like I didn't look at this previously, but like this guy even has the red box too to match. Oh, it's a girl, excuse me. Right? She's got this nice pink chart here. But you can see like it's a bunch of scribbles and a bunch of, you know, she's got like some type of I don't even know what you call those patterns anymore, like some type of wedge pattern. But she has that big red, you know, that box up there, right? Right, and she's looking for that as an opportunity. And we know what happened, right? Price spike. You can't see it in that picture, but let me go to another one, right? Like, look, same thing. All these people are doing basically the same thing. They're trying to find, like, I can tell you this right now. Banks have no respect, or they don't even acknowledge like these scribbles, like trend lines and support and resistance and all these things. They do not move price. What moves price? Does anybody know what moves price? What's the driving force behind the market? I can see a lot of people saying it. Liquidity. Liquidity is the only thing recognized by smart money. And they can actually, they have order books and they can actually see where the liquidity is. Like I'm sure some people have seen it with like crypto. You can see where the orders are coming in. I forget what it's called. I'd have to look. I don't even want to look and waste the time. But like you can see like where everybody's kind of loading up their positions, and you know where people are, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But like right, you can see the same thing, right? Like resistance level, right? Like these trend lines and these areas are not what moves price. Like that's not, like, think about it. Banks they don't trade like that. So why should you, right? You want to follow the people, like, or follow. Like, I'm sure you guys have heard the expression, right? Like, if everybody's looking right or going right, you want to go left, like, or observe the masses and do the opposite. Like, that's essentially what you want to do in the marketplace. If you see a level like this, like it looks almost too good to be true, and you see a perfect resistance level, and you know what everybody's doing. Like, if everybody pops that up, then you'd be like, oh shit, we're in a resistance level. Like, it's go time. I'm selling. Like, that's not what you want to be doing. You want to be doing the opposite. Or you just want to have the patience, because again, that's where the manipulations are gonna, that's where it happens. And it's because of the liquidity that's building, right? That's how liquidity pools are generated above these areas or along trend lines or in any of these patterns, right? Double tops, right? People probably get run over on double tops all the time because they're taught it's a reversal pattern, or double bottoms. It's a reversal pattern. It's a bullish reversal pattern, right? Stop losses go into the bottom. Stop losses go into the top with a double top, right? Liquidity's building there. And typically you're going to see, like, Great Britain USD was a perfect example of a double top and why it got run over. Because there's a perfect, like, look at this right here. How many people do you think were selling this here? Right? You have a resistance level here. Resistance level, double top here. Most people are looking to short that. But they fail to recognize that the liquidity pool that is building here, and that's what banks are targeting. That's what smart money's targeting. Basically, your stop losses. And then this happens. Price spikes up, right? So like Euro USD, going back to Euro USD, I think you guys can get a clear idea of like what I'm talking about here. Like, look at all these people doing the same things. Like they all mark up that resistance. I'm just curious to see what this risk to reward here. 5 to 1. That's not too bad on 150 something. Let me see here. Oh wait, he got. I can't tell. It won't let me move it. Right, so it looks like most these people are going short. Most these people have that resistance level, but let me show you what you want to be looking for. Right, so if you look at Euro USD and you look at what's taking place right here, what do you see here? What do you see happening here? And we can look deeper into that wick too, because that played a role in what took place today as well. Let me see. Right. Here's kind of like another example here, right? Like, look at this. You have that resistance level here. Let me get rid of this. Right. You got this resistance level here. Price spikes up. Right. I mean, look at this. People were probably thinking this is going up, right? Like it's trending up. You have a little bit of a range. That range is to build liquidity. And then you have this level here, right? You probably have these patterns are designed to bring buyers and sellers into the marketplace, right? So you have people that are probably buying, you probably have people that are selling, right? And then people see something like this and, you know, it's breaking that level. They'll probably look for a retest and go. But in reality, this was just clearing house, right? You have this level here, right? Let me do it like this. You have this, right, you got this break retest level here where you have resistance, now you find support, now you find support. That's a very common break retest level here. And same thing here, right? You've got this whole level here where price is finding resistance, right? Even before this, right? You got this range and prices, and people love trading in these ranges, right? And you see something like this, people are probably going to come into the market as sellers, and then at the bottom, probably buyers. And they have a really easy pattern, right? Like this is the pattern that really shows the hand of what's taking place here, because what they can clear both sides doing something very easily, and it's also going to bring in more liquidity. Because if price starts breaking up really quickly like that, what's the first thing people think? And this is why trading like this, like it preys on people's emotions, and people end up making these reactive decisions in the marketplace instead of being proactive or practicing patience and discipline and letting them show their hand to you. So like when you see, if you saw this range and you could see price trending up like this, right? I mean, I'm on a 15-minute, but you can kind of get a good idea that price was trending up right here. And then you see it ranging. And let's say you see price, I'll just show you, I'll show it. Because that happened right here, right? Price starts pushing down a little bit. And then it does this, right? What do you think people are automatically doing now? Let me zoom in here, right? Kind of like another break retest level, right? Do you think people would be looking at short here? Who here would look for shorting opportunities right now? Or would you honestly, and I'm probably talking to people who aren't familiar with these concepts or the way that we trade, would you be looking for buying opportunities here on this break retest level here? Because I mean, when people see that push up and they see price trending up and they see kind of a breakout of the range, or they got all these horizontal levels, like, you know, you kind of see with these red zones here, and price breaks through it, like you hear all of that, you know, you got a ceiling and price breaks through it, and that ceiling now becomes the floor, right? Like your resistance becomes your support, and you're looking for these support levels to hold up price and using these areas as opportunity. Right, most people are going to be looking for buying here. The last thing people are going to do is look for shorting. So think about it. If you were on the other side and you knew what the majority of people were doing, and you knew there's a lot of people buying here, there's probably a lot of people selling here, right? Liquidity building here, liquidity building down here, right? Everybody's stop losses up here, down here, right? And watch this pattern that takes place here. And let me just mark this up while I see it. I'm going to just mark that up, and I'm going to bring that back in a minute and explain that. And you can even see here, look at the reaction from this level. So let's watch what happens. Price just falls off the face of the earth. That's what we call manipulation right there. That's what we call a signature pattern, where price was ranging, liquidity was building on both sides, and this is the pattern that traps buyers and sellers. Now, see how I marked this circle up, or see how I marked this candle here? That's what we call an FU candle, right? There's a lot of different names. Some of you might know them as order blocks, right? Now, watch what happens at that level, right? I'm just gonna bring price a little bit more into the future now. And I'm gonna delete this here. I'm gonna go to the 1 hour time frame. Let me just check. What was that? The 15-minute I was just on? Let me just check the 30-minute. I was looking for the 50% of this candle here. So I'll do the 50% as well. The 50% of this is that. The reason why I'm marking this up is because this is the candle, this is the price action that grabbed all the liquidity. And the real proof is that this is manipulation is after this spike up into these areas where people are looking at opportunity, you're going to see a pretty significant move. And there's another example that took place now why we're basing our entry off of it. So like you can see price pushed up, it took out all these liquidity. Anybody that was selling there got stopped out, and then price aggressively pushes down and took out all the liquidity, took out all the stops of people looking to buy. It wiped the board both sides. Okay, so now you can see what I'm going to go to the 1 hour, and I'm going to bring it to the current price action of what took place today. Okay, so when we look at this here, all right, what do you see here? What's taking place here? Kind of a similar situation where, you know, we can see price trending up a little bit. It looks like we have a little bit of a 4 hour break of structure here, but price is still showing a willingness to go higher. So a lot of people too, when they see that 4 hour break of structure, and I'm going to flick over the line chart so you can see it really clearly. You can see price stepping up here, right? Making higher lows, higher highs, right? And then price trades down and it breaks this structure here. And now price is pulling up here, giving us a lower high. So that in itself is a signal to sell. Now, when you topple that off with this level here, very similar to what I demonstrated here, people might refer to this as, I think it's the trident or triple top or whatever you want to call it, right? A resistance level. They're looking at what price did in this level, right? We can clearly see what's taking place here, just like this level here. What do we have here? Can everybody see this where price found resistance, broke through, found support here, and found support here, right? We have the same pattern emerging. We have liquidity building here, right? Because we have people that are looking at this triple top or this resistance level as an opportunity, right? In reality, what's taking place behind the scenes is a lot of liquidity, a lot of money is being generated in this area, just like down here in this big area, this liquidity pool down here, because of all the people that are on the flip side and they're looking at this like a trending market, a bullish market. You got this break retest level, you have this support level, right? A lot of liquidity building on the downside, okay? Now, I want you to pay attention. Remember what I said over here? What's the proof? What's the proof that this was manipulation over here? Do you remember what I said? What was the proof that that's manipulation? Right, you're gonna see, and I know there's a little bit of a lag in the chat, so I'll just kind of keep it going, right? You're gonna see price come up into liquidity and then show a very strong reaction targeting the downside liquidity, right? So this right here, what you're seeing is just a bigger scale of what we're seeing here. Now, keep in mind that FU candle, right, that I pointed out here, this was that last up candle before price sold off and grabbed the downside liquidity. That area is where banks are holding. Like, there's a reason why banks want to bring price back up into this area, right? This is where banks have open positions. So it's the building of a double mitigation setup here. But what I wanted to see, like a lot of people they'll look at what happened today with this gold or this US 30, or excuse me, this I can't even talk, this Euro USD, and they'll think that they missed a move. But watch what takes place now. And keep in mind, these two lines here were the 50% of that 30-minute banker's candle and the 15-minute banker's candle, which were the last up candles before that big sell-off. We'd ideally be looking for the same thing that took place here over here, knowing that all these people who are selling, they're selling too soon. They're getting sucked in with the clean side and the dirty side, right? That easy to see resistance level. So I'm going to play this out so you can see what took place here today and how precise and how it's just insane what is taking place here, right? So we're going to see price come up into that level, and then look what happened. And you can see where it reacted to, right into that little zone I created there. So if you see something like this, right, and I'll go to a 4-hour time frame. Actually, you know what? I'll keep it at like a 2, right? It's almost the same thing that I showed over here, right? Now, if you were looking at this like a resistance level here, and let's say the trade setup failed, right? You got in and you were looking to sell, you were looking at opportunity for, you were looking for price to show another reaction like it did 3 times previously, right? You get your 4-hour break of structure, you got your potential lower high, and you're looking for this to give you another lower low there. And price breaks through this level pretty aggressively. What would be the first thing that you'd be looking for now? And you can kind of see it already happen, right? A lot of traders are taught that now that resistance is now that support. And now you're looking for price to continue up, especially with that big move. The last thing that they would ever really anticipate is price break above this and then give you a move like this. And that's not by coincidence. And you can see here where it came into, right? Look where this pushed into. So anybody that was buying here got wiped out. Anybody that was selling here got wiped out. This right here is just a bigger pattern of what we saw here. And it was by no coincidence this pushed up and turned at the exact spot that this FU candle over here was created. This was all pre-designed. This isn't by coincidence. This wasn't because of a news event. This wasn't because of a tweet. Those are reasons to move the market, but they don't determine the direction. Is everybody following along? So who can tell me what we have right now? Who can tell me what we have right now? So now we have what we refer to as a signature pattern, where this here was an example of it. Here is a bigger version of it, where we have liquidity building on the top, liquidity building on the bottom, and we have our manipulation, right? Price spiking up, and the proof is, like, look at here, same thing, like that level. And when price pushed into it, look at the massive candle there, and it can continue to sell off. Same thing here. When price pushed it up into this level here, look at the reaction afterwards. That's the proof in the pudding right there. So when you get this manipulation, just like price had to come back up into this candle here, we're now looking for price to come into this FU candle, this order block here. That's how we get our entries, right? Because now top side's wiped, The bottom is wiped. New set of equal lows created, target, right? Because banks are, and all these institutions are targeting where you were taught for opportunity, right? Because you can drag this over, right? If I drag this over, look, I'll keep it going with the red ones just so you can see clearly, right? You have that touch there, support, support, resistance, and support, right? Another level, and you can drag it all the way over, right? Because retail traders love trading these levels, thinking that this is what moves price, right? And look how wiki it is. It's not that, none of that's by coincidence. It's so hard to trade that stuff, right? So that's a target right here, liquidity, right? So when you see us mark up the charts like this, marking these equal highs, equal lows, and the dollar sign, that means there's liquidity there. The X means liquidity has been captured, it's been taken. So we have liquidity here, right? Liquidity here. And this is what we're targeting. Now that we've seen their hand, now we know which direction that they're going. Because of this, they wiped the top side and the big move was to the downside, taking out the bottom. And all the other liquidity to the downside. And we can also see another FU candle here that was never mitigated here, right? Look what took place here, right? Same exact thing. Once you see this stuff, you'll see it all the time. Look what took place here. Let me just show this example really quickly before I show you the entry and all that good stuff, right? Look at price here. You can see the double bottom there. If I go to a lower time frame, you'll probably see it a little bit easier, right? You can see the double bottom there, right? This is that, right? Like people love trading this. They look at it like a reversal pattern, right? Double bottom, support, price is pushing up pretty aggressively there, right? Now watch what happens. Before the price really runs off, watch what happens. Like they need to get this liquidity. Like go look at any big move. Like even this big move here. Look, it pushed up and grabbed the money sitting above that high before it sold off. Like before any type of move, they're going to grab liquidity. It's not a maybe or it could happen. It's the driving force. It has to happen. So watch what happens here. Before price really runs off, because people look at this and they're like, okay, price broke structure. I'm going to look for a pullback here and go. Watch what really takes place. Right, everything looks good. It looks bullish. And then look, it slams down. Do you think people are thinking about buying when they see something like that? All that was doing was taking out all the stops, taking out the double bottom, taking out the equal lows, as we call it, taking out the liquidity. And now that's when it runs. After they grabbed you, after they brought you into the market too soon and trapped you, you got trapped. And then price runs, right? That's by design. That's by design, right? So that's why this area here, that last down candle that took out liquidity, that's also a target for us because they have drawdown there. They want to go back to that area, right? So we have multiple reasons for them, smart money, to bring price down. We've seen them show their hand. Their hand's been exposed here. So this candle here, this last up candle before this massive 4-hour engulfing candle, which created this signature pattern, that's our entry. We're using the top of that candle for our stop loss. We're targeting downside liquidity here, back to that 4-hour candle, 9-to-1 on 195 pips. So if you're risking 2% on a trade like this, you can potentially increase your account by 18% on a single trade. On 18, 100, 200 pips, any bet. I mean, typically I like to look for 10-to-1s on less, like 100 pips or less, but a setup like this, especially on a higher time frame with everything going on with, you know, we got a lot of different things going on in the marketplace right now. We got the end of the year, we got all this election stuff. Higher time frames are probably a little bit safer place to play right now. So when you see a setup like this, 4-hour banker's candle with a 21 pip stop loss, and you're looking at 9-to-1 on 200 pips, a trade like this can put you in a really good position, and that's what we're banking on this week in our group. So we're looking at really, really solid setups like this for the remainder of the week to close out this month strong and set us up nice for next month. You guys get value of this breakdown? Did you guys get value from this explanation, breaking down the manipulation and what's taking place behind the scenes, where a lot of people are getting, enticed into the marketplace too soon? Because like a lot of the times when that stuff happens, when people look at that triple top or they find these resistance areas and they see price spike up and then go down, a lot of the times people just aren't acknowledging that there was a trap. Like a lot of people are going to look at that like, because I did it all the time back when I first started, where I would find a resistance level like that. Like I traded support, resistance, and all of that good stuff. And I was looking for reversals. I was a big reversal trader and yada, yada, yada. But I would look for areas like that. And if I ever got spiked out like this and then price went down, like I would think that my markup was correct. Like I would think in my head, I knew it was going down. I marked it up to go down. Price did push down aggressively, but maybe I just have my stop loss too tight. Maybe I just have my stop loss in the wrong place. Like maybe I just got unlucky and I failed to acknowledge what's taking place in the marketplace. Why these patterns are forming, right? Why are these, perfect resistance levels forming? Why are all these things happening? Why do these candles look the way they do? Why are certain things forming at certain times of the day during certain sessions? I failed to recognize that there's algorithms. I failed to recognize a lot of things that were taking place in the market. And when you have an understanding of that stuff, that's when you can really take advantage. And that's what we plan on sharing with you guys. So I hope you guys got value from this breakdown. I hope you guys got value from the call in general. If you guys liked this call, smash that heart button, drop a 7 in the chat. Let's see some interaction. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Joe, you still with us?
I'm here, brother.
All right, cool. I'm going to stop sharing there. If you want to bring yours upside, I don't know how to do it. So you're not, there we go. Oh. I still got a little bit of a lag on my end, so I can't see the chat. It's like coming up 10 minutes later for me.
A lot of 7s coming through. I just saw Garrett, the broker that we use, it's on our website. So if you just go to EasyFXSignals.com, you'll see our broker link.
Is it in the caption of this?
1 second. No, I mean, I can. Let me see if I can grab it real quick.
It's no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally right on our website. If you go to EasyFXSignals.com, you'll see.
Oh, it is. It is in the caption.
Oh, just kidding. Yeah, perfect. Like I said, we've got it under control. So a couple just reminders for anybody that tuned in. We're running a promotion this month. So our pricing is very simple going forward. It's going to be anyone that wants to try us out, they get 14 days to kind of get a look under the hood, if you will, in our VIP channel. You can go back and back test and check out all of the stuff that we have going on. And that goes to our $99 per month subscription. And then you also have the opportunity to upgrade to a yearly subscription for $499, which comes out to like about $680 savings. Now, what we're doing this week is running a promotion for anybody that's on this call, and then for anybody that's catching the replay through the remainder of November, Black Friday sale. You can get the annual subscription for $360. And I will say this: we have people that are in right now on a trial for the annual $499. We'll also honor that $360 price for you guys. So don't feel like if you signed up before this promo came out, you're not eligible. We're not those type of dudes. So if you're curious about this or interested, let us know. And you can also, I'm gonna put the link on the screen right now. This is where, if you're already active with us and you want to update your subscription, this is where you do it inside of your portal. So lots of exciting things coming up. If you're interested in learning about how to share this opportunity with others, I think everyone will agree that this is the type of stuff that is going to transform your trading experience. It's not strategies. It's not, taking more trades. It's not taking signals. It's 100% mindset. and understanding what you can go back to over and over and over again to weather the storm on weeks like we had last week where we weren't on the top of our game. Like, no, we weren't not on the top of our game. It's just the market is what the market is, but we don't care. We keep rolling because we've already trained our mindset to understand it's a numbers game, right? So if this is valuable for you guys and you want other people to be a part of this community, we've had awesome engagement already. This is our third live. We've got about 50 people on here, and you guys have stayed this entire time. I want to see hundreds and potentially thousands of people on this thing coming into 2021. So the more people we can help, the better. This is truly life-changing stuff.
Absolutely. I don't know if you wanted to just call it there or if you wanted to. I'm not sure. I didn't see too many questions, so
yeah,
I think we got most
maybe
of them.
Let's do. You have 5-10 minutes to take any just last-minute questions.
I'm cutting it close, but I can hang around for a few more.
All right, a few more minutes. Spitfire questions, guys. Spitfire questions. I think everyone's still on pretty much. Brad. Yeah, Brad, shoot me an email. I'll put the email back up here, and I'll look into your account. Shoot me an email at support EasyFXSignals, and I got you.
I saw one about what are some private funding companies, and I just want to say, like, we're not affiliated with any of these,
right?
But I would probably look into FTMO.com. They're probably one of the biggest and probably the most respected. And there's different levels of account sizes that you can get, but the percentages for the traders are pretty good there. But I mean, just do your own due diligence. Maybe reach out to people that are using it. There's a bunch in the chat. I'm sure if you scroll up, you can find some people.
Steve is asking, why not sign up with you using Social Trader versus getting Telegram signals? So again, signals is the cherry on top of what we want to offer here. And Social Trader is capped on the number of accounts you can manage. Like, you have to be at certain levels and get certain certifications, and it's not something that we're really thinking about doing.
Yeah, when it gets to something like that, we would need to be licensed.
Yeah.
Need registered. So like, we're not legally allowed to do that.
Right. And we want to help people. I mean, I don't think, yes, in theory, linking someone's account, and just having us do everything would help people, but it's not. I don't think that's the type of people that we have here. I think the people we have here are people that want to actually do this and help other people do this or have their own private funding. So, yeah, it's not really in our, thought process. Derek is asking, what kind of account do you trade? Commissions or smaller spread or spread only?
It really depends. I mean, some of the accounts that I'm on they're all pro accounts or raw spread accounts. It really depends. It really depends on like your goals and the account sizes. There's a lot of things. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of factors there. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't get too caught up in the type account. I mean, you can do perfectly fine on a regular ECN account. Like, spreads shouldn't be too big of a deal, or commissions. I mean, like, guys, I mean, for a lot of accounts, like 10K accounts, I mean, you're looking at like $10 or less. I mean, like, we have some accounts that get charged hundreds of dollars just to place the trades. But in the big picture and relevance to the account, it's nothing. So like that stuff, according to your account size, I mean, it's the cost of doing business.
Yep. And AJ is saying, is there some way to copy signals or edits made based on time differences? It's something that's probably in a kind of side-to-side Discord launch and a trade copier. Those are two of the highest priority things that we're looking into right now. And I think that is a necessary add that we do inside of the group. But we're like anything else, we're not just going to use whatever tool. We vetted all of the software that we use for months before we even went live with this company, because we want to make sure you guys are getting the best of the best. So we have about 3 to 5 that have been suggested to us by members that trade either part-time or on FTMO that use trade copiers. They've already started testing them with our signals. And once we vet those and find one that we're comfortable with, 100% we're going to drop it to the group. That's another goal by 2021. So we have like 6 weeks. If you guys can be patient with us, I think that's enough time for us to start vetting some of these, testing them, and then broadcasting them to the group. But I think it'll be a great thing to bring on for 2021. So a couple more questions, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. Cool. Well, I'm not seeing any more come in. If you guys have late questions coming in, we'll jump back on the comments later on, and we can answer those via text. But if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out to us via email, and we'll rock and roll. Have a great week.
See you guys inside.